Yo, it's Halloween, and Halloween is the best holiday. It's my personal favorite holiday, and as such, I wanted to do something special. We got special guest Mantisboi here. Mantis, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling really great right now.
That is amazing. Today we are going to take a look at a very no, I don't know how popular. I don't want to make accusations like that, but it is one of my personal favorite fan-made islands as a special for Halloween. We're going to look at Spookbeat Special. Not technically an island, but I thought it would fit because Halloween and the island's all about Halloween. And to start us off, we got one of the coolest melodies on this island. The random number generator has blessed us with the ability to talk about Gemini. So, what is your opinion on Spookbeat Special Gemini?
That's such a heavy hitter to start off on.
Yeah.
It's the melody is so weird, but like in a good way. It's like freaky, like the way it moves around. But like, cause like it's not like bad, but it's super unorthodox, and it makes it fit the theme really well with like like you know what I mean, like the way it starts and stops at the right places and like what notes it moves to. It's
Yeah.
like it's like unexpected, but it just fits the theme so perfectly. It's like it's a banger, but it's also got that slight creep factor to it.
It follows a
Yeah.
really weird and unorthodox rhythm that just kind of leaves certain parts of it jank, but good jank. Especially when you consider the verse it's placed in, when you got like hard hitting atmospheres like Borgabo and Calametal.
Yeah. Can I say how I made the track?
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
Just imagine a slightly younger version of me hitting random notes on a piano, and then I quantized it.
What does quanticize mean?
Quantize is basically when you play the piano and you record it into your dot, and then quantizing means that you're making the notes on time because
Oh,
at the time I was really bad at staying on time, and I kind of still am, honestly.
eh, who needs to stay on time?
so am I. I have.
Listen, I can barely stay on time when I'm using FL Studio and it's there for me.
But
Does
yeah,
Gemini only have track?
what?
Does Gemini only have one track?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just one very long continuous track.
Though
Meaning
it does also play in the outro with Flanco.
yeah, and I never hear it, despite how crazy of a melody it is. It's like
I
I
think it's
hear.
the mixing. The mixing in that verse makes it feel like there's like it feels like in the full video, it feels like it's only Flanco playing because he takes all the attention. He's the big banger. But then at the end of the day, there's a lot of complexities like in the background just mixed more quietly to the point where like I don't really notice who's playing, but I don't think you're supposed to notice who's playing because all you're supposed to notice is Flanco and
Yeah,
his feet.
like, like I had no idea Zumi and the uh, what's its name?
What
It's,
sound does it
Clam,
no, the oh, Calametal.
you forgot. Okay, yeah, yeah. I didn't know they played either. It's the kind of thing where if you really listen and know they're there, you can kind of hear. You're like, oh wow, that's cool. That's impressive complexity right there.
Thanks.
But yeah, Jazzle Bell, not Gemini is like when it hit it plays when it needs to play, then it dips out because it's done its job. Yet it still just helps out in the background without being noticeable because it
Yeah,
doesn't need to be noticed anymore since it's at its verse.
you know, I
Definitely up there.
I feel like this the name thing is gonna be an issue. So I say we just get both of the J's out early.
Yeah, I always just say Jezebel and Gemini,
All
confusing
right,
them.
you're talking about the Jays. Jam it.
No.
Okay, Jezebel is another hard hitter in my opinion.
Jezebel is like one of those things where I didn't notice it, but after I figured out what its individual one is, I did, and yeah, after I figured out what its individual was, and I started like trying to focus on it, I was like, "Yo, this actually kind of poggers, though."
Its first track really pops off in my opinion. Like it's like I'm pretty sure it's the counter melody in both the Vectis verse and I'd forget who. I think the Elicamo verse
Alakamo,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second track is just like a little flourish in the Dekala part.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. It's definitely noticeable once you know what it is, but at the same time, it does a good job of like, uh, what's it called? You know, it doesn't. I think it does a lot while not doing too much. It's well balanced.
You know, out of all of the upbeats, I feel like Jazubel is one of the ones with the most defined role. It always does very similar things on every island, and it also exceedingly does it well.
It's a great atmosphere setter.
I mean, when you're literally just a bass and bell, it's it's the kind of thing where you could try to go against the current, but also if you just go into your defined role, you're gonna work well because a bass be hitting and a bell be belling like
Belling.
bellis.
I appreciate Jezebel's bell sound on this island because imagine trying to hear Spookbeat Special with Rubber Island Jezebel sound in it.
I don't think we're
Yeah.
ever gonna be able to imagine that ever.
I hope we never have to imagine that ever.
It's the perfect spooky bell, and I enjoy it.
You know, it makes a lot of sense for Jazz Bell to be on this island too because of his design.
True. Speaking of design, though,
So
this
yeah,
is the bad
Rip
Jezebel
on.
design.
But I had a
Speaking of
fun.
This is the best Jezebel design.
Listen, the only good thing about the Jazubel design on this island is that its costume was a pumpkin, and that's funny to me, but I can't explain why it's funny, because that would be a spoiler.
Oh, I get it. It's funny because it's a reference to Gorgiern.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
totally.
reference to. Listen, it's funny because Olivia's making a reference to "Ain't It Funny How It Happens" by Danny Brown.
I don't even know who that is.
You don't need to know who that is. All you have to know is that the next monster we're talking about is Dekala.
Is it?
I don't know what to think about Dekala because it's just kind of he reminds me of Flower on Light Island.
Mean.
I mean, I can kind of hear it.
It's like imagine him but Flower like Hoonga choo Hoonga ga choo choo Hoonga ga ga choo.
You know, I think I agree. In fact, I agree so much that I hate Dekala on this island. It should have been Flower.
Damn. What are your opinions
Yeah.
on not Flower, Dekala before Manta said that?
It was whatever. It was a decent melody for like its verse, and then I just forgot he was in the song.
It's
Dekala
like,
doesn't do much. He doesn't need to do much though.
it's a serviceable melody, but when an island has this much hard hitters, it's just kind of like the worst of the best kind of situation.
Yeah, it's like a. Listen, I'd say the best way to describe it would be like something like Thrumble on the continent. Like in his verse, the hard hitters aren't Thrumble. They don't call it the Thrumble verse. They call it the Yellow verse or the Flower verse. Like
The Barb verse.
no one calls it that, and if they do, fuck you. Like that aside, like he doesn't own Duckula doesn't own the place. He's never going to. He's too busy dressing up as Harry the Platypus. He's a platykinny. Okay, that's just how he is. He's not gonna ever own the place, so he respects his role and does the bare minimum,
I
which
bet
is good enough.
Duckula's favorite official monster is the platypus that's coming out.
Yeah, tomorrow. Now you know when we're recording this.
Yeah.
Well, unless it doesn't come out tomorrow, that'd be funny.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are coming out tomorrow, Quiverette.
What? Quiver's gay?
Quiver.
I mean, have you seen the art?
What does that mean? Yeah, because Lapota's
Take
female.
that, however you want to take it. Okay.
Quiverette
Quiverette.
is nothing.
Quiver is 3 notes.
Quiverette is really cool. Do-do-do-do. I'm sad I didn't do more with Quiverette.
My issue is...
I mean, here's the thing. I feel like if I got to like hear it but mix in the song louder and then got to compare that, it's like the kind of thing where if I could get 12 Quiverettes to realize exactly what they do and then afterwards just go back to normal, I feel like I could appreciate it more. But I really can't. I don't think it does anything wrong whatsoever. And in the back and forth trick or treat verse, it's good enough.
Just a
Like
bling,
it doesn't do
bling,
anything
bling.
special. Like it feels fine there. I don't think Uber is bad per se, but also uh it it might end up being in the bottom three or they're just honorable mentions simply due to the fact that like doing nothing on an island with uh Vectis and Elikamo is just enough to warrant that.
Ryan, you sounded like you were gonna say something there.
Yeah, before the indications video that was made in order for us to understand which monsters were playing on this island, I thought the Quiverette in the Trick or Treat verse was Membrous, so that shows you how much I thought Quiverette was in the song.
Here's the thing. To be fair, before I completely forgot what the monster sound was at the time. So in my head, I was like, "Oh yeah, it's that sound. Definitely Bao Yangzu."
Oh yeah, it's belly.
You know, because he's definitely not percussion.
No, why would he be? Also, until the individuals came out, I honestly had no idea Quiverette was even on the island. Like, I didn't know Quiverette was the sound in the trick or treat thing. I just didn't connect the dots that it had to be a monster there. And also, I didn't know Quiverette's second track even existed, even after the individuals, because I didn't see part 1, I only saw part 2.
How'd you not see part 1?
Because I didn't watch it when it came out.
Ugh.
That makes sense. Yeah, Quiverette is not much. They're not, like Quiverette is basically just thumpy situation. Could have done more, didn't do more, whatever. Not much to say about it. Though I do think that it's I don't know how the song could have ended up if Quiverette did more, but for the now the song's balance is perfectly fine and the song overall is great. So like I don't mind Quiverette doing nothing. I'd rather Quiverette do nothing than Quiverette hurting the song.
True.
So congratulations, Quiverette. You're not garbage.
Let's talk
Speaking
about
of garbage.
yeah, cause he has a trash bag over his head, so he's garbage.
What, Slapoda?
Just kidding, it's a blanket.
Oh. I didn't actually consider what it was. I thought it was a plastic bag, but now I'm realizing that's kind of stupid.
I mean,
Nah, listen, here's the
He
thing.
would be
Trunks
dead.
seconds it around his head and dies.
What?
You know, it is a plastic bag, and then afterwards, it's just that scene from Family Guy where, what's it called? In order to help calm his breathing, Peter put a plastic bag
Oh.
over Cleveland's head.
Slapoda's sick.
Yeah.
How many bases are on this island?
Huh?
How many bases are on this island?
Let me think.
Does Padine count?
3.
No, it's
No, that's a pad.
Yeah, but it's like a base pad.
There's at least 3.
Let's see, there's
1.
no, because Jazobel.
Yeah,
Jezebel,
and
it's
what? Jazabel, more like
Sclamp.
Sclamp, more like Slapoda. Because every time I hear Slapoda, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the bass line. And Slapoda is always poppin', McPoppin', McPop. Slapoda has a melody.
Yeah.
Doesn't say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like it when bass lines are able to be semi-melodic a lot.
Trust me, one thing we go gaga over is when basses are actually complex and people like care about them.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah, Slepota's sick on this.
so often bases, even in like official MSM, are just like, oh yeah, chord notes. Oh yeah, long notes. But then when there's islands like Wublin Island, where the bass is like popping off with its own melodies, we're like, bro, that is S tier, easy, top tier, best monster on the island. Obviously, I don't think Slapota is the best monster on the island, but a bass melody goes a far way for songs.
Listen, if the top wasn't so like cutthroat, he'd definitely be there. Like, this is the kind of island where we could justify a top 10.
Honestly, yeah.
Slapota really pops off. He starts off with this like simple, long, basic basses, like long notes, and then afterwards, he just transitions into his melody track perfectly. As like it works perfectly as the intro of the song too, because like it's melody, but it's bass melody, so it's not like as important as most other melodies, and then that just transitions to the rest of the song being actual melodies.
Not only that, but it's slap bass, man.
Yeah.
Slap bass is so sick. And then its second, or I guess technically third track is also pretty good as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the one in the trick or treat.
No. But yeah,
Yeah.
Slapota is sick.
Slapota awesome. Speaking of awesome, turn disc.
Dude, Turntisk's funny.
Does Turntisk only do the funny thing he does in the Ella Camoverse, or do he does other things?
He has a trick or treat part.
Oh yeah. He says trick or treat.
Does he actually?
But
Yeah. He's like,
Yeah, it's in the second part individuals, and it's the final one. It's funny.
No, it's not.
I didn't put the trick or treat in the individuals, and it would have just been me saying trick or treat. So.
But yeah, Turntisk is funny transition, and I like it. It's not the best, but it's far from the worst.
I don't even consider it a transition. Like, yeah, obviously transitions sometimes just because of where it's placed, but like, I just think of it as a nice little like blip as like a funny percussion thing, and I'm like, oh, bro, that's kind of popping off because it's one of those things where it adds variation to the phrase, and it's like, oh, bro, if it was just Ella Camo, then that kind of be boring, but like Turntisk just adds a little bit of flavor to everything that I can always appreciate.
It's so weird how Turntisk's
Yeah.
sound is so simple on concept, but then it just like always pops off on every island.
Yeah, things like him just make sure the song is like alive, or you could say undead. Ooh.
I'm sorry, that scared me.
Except things are like constantly moving. You can feel the heartbeat and see it too.
Wait, Heartbeat's on this island?
What?
Yeah, he goes doom 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 doom.
Oh, you were referencing Borgabo.
Definitely, yep. Because Borgamo does more than one note at a time.
Totally. Wait, hold on. Before we switch subjects, I gotta ask, Mantis, how the FH did you make Turntisk sound? Because I forgot.
Turntisk is always pretty much sampling. But it's a lot harder than it sounds because it's just difficult to find decent record scratching sounds.
Fair enough. So did you like lose it after the island was finished, or?
I lost it. Well, I think it's because I like transported my files twice, and I don't have the sample pack for whatever record scratching I was using downloaded, and I didn't want to bother searching for all the websites. But I didn't have it lost like right after Spookbeat because
Well, it's a real shame that it took more than half a year for it to get an individual track.
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, turn disc is Pog, and you know who else is Pog? Oh, dang it!
No.
Everything else on the list besides like one.
I was gonna say Bazzard, but he's not on this island because he is constantly pogging.
Um, Calamiddle is the best sound on this island.
That's a
Yeah.
hot take.
That
Just kidding. He's just chords.
no, he is the best sound, and I can explain why. Because there was a heated argument among us, besides you, Mantis, because you weren't
Yeah, because
You
if you
weren't
were
alive.
you weren't there. Because if you were there, it would only be like 10 seconds.
It was pretty much we were trying to analyze the songs based on like individuals and stuff. And like, oh, bro, does Borgabo play anywhere else besides Trick or Treat? And because we didn't hear any individual tracks for him. Because before the part 2 was uploaded, we just had to go off of this one random video from some random guy, and it didn't have Borgabo. So we were like in turmoil on whether Borgabo played anywhere. And so we were like, oh yeah, he
I
does.
figured it out.
Yeah, it was. We were like, oh, bro, does he play in the Gemini verse? And I'm like, no, bro, that's Calametal. And then Abed was like, no, bro, I don't even hear Calametal. All I hear is Borgabo. And then we were like, oh, bro, no, actually, it's just both.
Here's the thing. To be fair, that video that the guy uploaded was an audio file Mantis put into his public server once, and it didn't have Borgabo, so I was confused. I was like, but that's clearly Borgabo. And also, Calametal is quiet. I can't really hear his notes at all. Still, I can just hear his shoot things.
Literally, it's the only thing that I hear. You're just weird.
Yeah, I can hear it too. Honestly,
But
I
I hear
would
Borgabo.
judge these two pretty much the same way.
I think Borgabo's better though.
Borgabo's way better in my opinion because when I listen to him alone, he almost sounds like he'd be painful to listen to, but he isn't. I don't know.
Does Borgabo rejoin Calametal at the very end with the Flanco verse?
I
I
forget.
don't know. No, he does not.
No, okay. Well, that's one
Listen.
thing Calametal has over him, at least.
Listen, see, here's the thing though. Calametal's track is less about like the sound to me, and I feel like with Calametal's track, it's more so
The
just
ambient.
like rhythm.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, I feel like Borgabo definitely adds way more to it because he has like spooky background chords that definitely fit Halloween super well.
True. And
Yeah,
then
all sounds super.
what?
Listen, here's the thing. Calamel is the kind of thing where if I was the one making the song, I probably wouldn't have had him in the first place.
What were you gonna say, Ryan?
I said his chords all sound very diminished and awkward, and I'm like, bro, that's Pog.
True.
Exactly.
I was gonna
Awkward, but it
say
works.
there's also
Because
the
the thing
fact that Calametal being rhythm is kind of redundant since Faberage kind of covers any rhythm the song ever needs ever.
Exactly.
And
That's why Borgabo is way superior.
All right, I take that. And also, that was a 2 for the price of 1. We went over 2 monsters at the same time.
Yep. And now let's go over 3 monsters at the same time by talking about Truckus, Deej, and Truckus.
That's 4.
oh,
I
it's Truckus. Truckus again, which is actually Jamatung. Truckus again, which is actually Flonko, and then Deej, which is obviously Deej.
No, Deej is nicer. Okay, anyways. So, Truckus. He starts off in the intro. He's doing chords. He's carrying his weight for the melody, and then afterwards he has his funny opening melody with the da 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 da. Starting things off,
Yeah.
and then Trick or Treat.
He plays later, doesn't he?
He plays back when Dekala comes back.
Oh yeah, but he's background at that point.
Yeah. I always respected what Truckus did, where he did the da 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 da, and he does the pause and then does it. I'm like, bro, that's the kind of thing that like I wouldn't do, but the fact that it exists is like such an extra layer of like complexity that I enjoy.
Hmm.
I'd say Truckus is really good on the sound because he sets up the foundation perfectly.
Yeah.
Truckus walked so Fibblebeat could swim.
What?
Yeah,
And-
because he's on the island.
It's good that Shruckus was good on this island because he's basically Mantis's mascot.
I mean, it makes perfect sense for him to do what he does. Like he sets it up right from the intro. Like it's the intro just a new seasonal and truck it. You know, setting up the familiarities, and then afterwards you get Tom Shroom coming in, and then there's just that entire verse just all just Truckus building stuff up. And then yeah, so Truckus is very pog on this island.
It's weird to
Can't
think
put him in the
about
top really.
the
but-
fact that Truckus is like so simple in both sound and design, yet it's grown to be just so iconic within the community.
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah. But we have to go over the second thing that comes in with Truckus, you know, because after Truckus plays, there's the funny Tom Shrum transition.
Isn't that Tom Shroom's like only track on the song?
Yeah, he does a transition into just being pretty much the main percussion, while there is technically what's it called, Fabrage, and doing like cymbals in the background.
Ugh. Tom Shroom is meh.
I feel like his transition makes his existence worth it.
I think that's the only way that he could have existed in the first place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We have such heavy percussion on this island that Tom Shrum really can't have a role besides what it is
Yeah.
now.
yeah, he does the transition, and he carries. I'd say he honestly does carry pretty hard in that verse. Like you don't notice him, but it's the kind of thing where if he was gone, you'd be like, this doesn't sound at all. So like, I appreciate him for what he does. Definitely at least an honorable mention, I'd say, or just not mention.
I'd probably go with not mentioning because I'm not really that big a fan of Tom Shroom. I don't really care about the monster. And when you got an island with freaking Faberage and Rabiro or Ravero or however the hell that name's pronounced, Tom Shroom ain't gonna do much.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's just serviceable.
And if you want to go with minimal percussion, my eyes are set on Jamatung.
Is that our transition into Jamatung?
I don't
He
know.
doesn't-
Do you guys have anything you want to say about Tom Shroom?
No.
Well then, yeah.
Jamatong's all right. He definitely pops off hardest in the outro.
That's the only time I notice him, really. Besides, like, Trick or
Well, yeah, he does the trick or treat, and then afterwards he does like small things. Some parts after that, I think.
Honestly, for a while, I thought Jazzobel's second track was Jamatung's synth.
Hmm. Well,
That would
listen,
have
here's the
been
thing.
cool.
Yeah, but I don't. I feel like that's too much. I think he doesn't need to do that much. Because here's the thing: the whole dun 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 dun, like simple, yes, but it sounds fire no matter what. Like, I mean, you know, you got what's it called? Like, you know, I did it on Carboniferous Replanted with
Echologleckle.
what exactly? Yeah, Echologleckle. Like, I feel like that rhythm with a cowbell, like when used in the right sense, like as a transition, especially like what it does, because uh, it's just like solo and then just dun 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 dun, and then it just perfectly leads into the Vectus verse. It pops off.
And then it's also got that pop-off moment in the Flango verse.
It's crazy how, like, what are all the percussion that's playing? I know Bang.
I
Is
think
Fabrage playing there?
Faberage plays there. Rabiro plays cymbal crashes at the beginning of each track.
Like, it's like all the heavy percussion, and yet Jamatung still manages to be, like, notable in that, and it's impressive.
Listen, I'm a sucker for cowbells, bro. I think cowbells are super pog.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah, like, in that verse, literally everything except for every percussionist on that, including Parentis, except for
Tom
called
Shrum?
Tom Shrum is playing in that verse.
Even Scalamp.
Yeah.
You know, I got a question for Mantis.
Yeah.
I never understood what was the decision in making Jamatung such a weird combination of instruments. Like, I never understood what the point. Like, it's so weird having a monster that's a cowbell, but then also a synth.
What? Okay, what happened was I was looking through cowbell samples, and this was everything in Upbeat Island was basically completely random. I had no idea what it was doing. So there's like two cowbell samples, and then I took turned one into like a melody instrument, and I was like, this is kind of cool. And
Wait,
so that
so its synth is just a cowbell?
On
I
Upbeat.
th- on
Oh,
Upbeat
on
it
Upbeat
is.
it was, okay.
I don't know what the case is on Rubber, but I think there's also been other times where he's been a cow, or been able to make a cowbell melody and it sound like Jamaton. It's funny.
I just always thought that was weird. It's an odd choice, but it's a welcome one because Jamatung is like one of my favorite monsters from you.
Did you
He's a
have any,
weird. He snorts glue.
That's
did
so
you have
he doesn't even know.
control over Rubber Island Jamatung, since TME was the one that worked on that song?
That's a good
Mantis?
answer.
Yeah.
I think Mantis may have crashed.
I did not know what you said at the beginning,
Oh.
so
He asked if you had any control over Jamatung on Rubber.
no, basically it was just Timmy composing it and then I just going with it. I there
Makes
probably
sense.
we probably should have had a bit more communication, like especially with the Cyanophone, but that's kind of off topic.
Yeah, that's a story for another day. But yeah, Jamatung is super cool, and I think it is one of the better percussions on just
You
in
know
general
what?
for Mantis's content.
If we're talking about percussion, let's get Baringa Boy out of the way.
Ring a bang. What a odd. Just
I didn't
odd.
even know anything until individuals came out.
I thought
Bring
Ring a Bang was Fubbarage.
Bang is such a depressing story because he's never had a decent island. He's always just kind of sounded.
I like how on
existed.
Robert Island its sound is literally like a 2-second loop. And then on this island the sound is like a 4-second loop. And then it's a quad, so it's not on any other island.
Yeah, and he gets depressed and depressed and depressed.
Honestly, Baringabang in the video is just me when listening to Baringabang.
He's not bad. He just does nothing.
Yeah, and it makes me depressed because it's a quad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say that's definitely like a Thinkaju moment where it's the kind of thing where it's not bad, but the fact it's a quad probably is gonna lead it to getting a dishonorable mention.
Hmm.
I mean, bottom three, because we don't have really much else.
Yeah, there's not a lot of competition for bottom, so being
There is
disappointing.
competition. Here's the thing: there may not be competition for bottom, but there's plenty of competition for Baringabang. Like, Fubbarage.
Fubbarage?
Yeah.
Fubbarage plays like literally the entire song.
Yep. He isn't as defined of a defining of a sound as the last percussion, like as like pretty much most other percussions on the sound one. Like, but the fact he plays like pretty much the entire song definitely speaks volume.
I always found it odd that, especially because a lot of these choices were made on the second island, why there's just so much monsters in the upbeats that are just full drum kits.
At the time, I did not have the philosophy of you should have percussions working together. I just did sounds that seemed cool to me.
I just always found it funny that there's Rabiro, there's Faberage, there's Bang, technically Geargrex,
It's so.
and the funniest part is 3 out of 4 of those are on this island. And then Faberage is just like, all right, I'm gonna do everything, and I'll leave up the rest to you.
Yep. He's good on the island.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's the best percussionist on the island.
Honestly, Faberage is a good choice for a lead percussionist simply from the fact that the toms and stuff that just have the really, really bassy echo really atmosphere this shit up.
Yep. Listen, you know who I think is the percussionist spotlight on this island, though?
What?
Sklimp.
Rabero.
Um,
Listen, he does less than Faberage, but I feel like I feel like he's more recognizable and like noticeable. Like when he's playing, you can feel him playing. While with Faberage, a lot of the time it's more so like in the background. Because like here's the thing, most of the time you're not going to be paying attention to the discussion, which is why like in the case of like uh what's his name Jamatung, you it's stand out because he's Kabul, he's funny. And I feel like the same was with the rapper when he's down fun, especially like in the outro with his hits like the like I don't know, I just feel like he pops out a lot more. And when it comes to monsters, it doesn't matter how good of a percussion track you have. The more you pop out, the better of a monster you are. And in that regard, I think Rabero does a way better job than Faberage could dream of.
fair. I can give you that one. Although I
Simple.
don't have a personal experience with that connection since I honestly, outside of the Gemini verse where it's literally shown when it's playing, I didn't know it was playing anywhere else in the song.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. The second half of the Flanco verse,
Yeah.
that's him,
Well,
Like,
him
that's like the best part of the
and
song.
Jamaton.
I mean, yeah, I get it.
But then again, Jamatung is one of the other, like, pog as shit percussions.
Wait, no, he's, uh, 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 oh wait, Jamatung. I thought you were saying Faberage.
No.
Yeah, I mean, no, Jamatung doesn't really do that. He just plays constantly while, Jam, not Jamatung, while Faberage, not Faberage,
He kind of fades in
Rapero.
and out.
Yeah, Rapero, like, hits on the beat. It's just like,
Alright, fair enough. Uh, you know who else hits on the beat?
all the hard hitters we have left,
Yeah, really.
except Slam. Let's talk about Slam.
Sclamp's funny. I didn't know what its track was until the individual came out.
Yeah, pretty much. He plays like twice in the song.
Yeah. I didn't know it played past the beginning, even after its individual. The only time I knew it played after the Alakamo verse is when the Indications came out.
Yep.
I
Anything you to know about Slam?
What, Ryan?
What? I respect Sklant because after looking through the indications, I realized that like the only percussion that plays for like the Ella Camo verse is just Sklamp, and I'm like, bro, what? I didn't realize he was the popping off point until I didn't really like recognize him as a monster because I didn't hear his bass track at all. Because I'm like, oh, bro, slap Oda, but then like it's like, oh, he's just the only percussion there, so I can say he has a serviceable role in the song.
It's like, it's low, but it's not low enough to really be noticeable. It's like a mid-low, or like a low mid.
I just realized Slapoda doesn't even play that verse.
What?
Yeah, Slapoda isn't even in that LA Camel verse.
Yeah.
Maybe I just never recognized the bass as being Sklamp.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where when you listen for it, I can 100% definitely hear it. Like, I just did it right now, that's why I muted. Like, for me, I don't notice it. I don't wear headphones. But if I was wearing headphones, I feel like I would definitely recognize that as Slam.
I recognize it as Sklamp, but it's like not that impressive.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's impressive, but I think it's good. You don't
Yeah,
need to be impressive.
but the real best thing about Sklamp is that his costume is Lizard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
And
did you think it was?
I thought it was Kazillion. I
Right.
don't know how anymore. Like, I look back at that and I'm like, that's kind of stupid. But for some reason, I thought Sklamp got in a Kazillion costume.
Bro, yeah. Okay. Do you know what's a monster that I did not know was in the song at all? But also, once realizing it, it low-key kind of pops off.
If you say Padine, I'm gonna be really disappointed.
Padine.
No, I don't like Padine.
Why not?
Because it's just air. It's just, honestly, in the full song, the only thing I hear from it is just, like, wind.
Ambient noises are underrated, but it's not like the most impressive ambient noise, so it's not really.
Yeah, but you got Jazzobel on ambience.
Yeah, except it doesn't play in the Yellow Camel verse. Okay, you know what? Listen, here's the thing.
Actually,
I want
Jazzobel does play in the Alakamo verse.
not the first half.
I didn't even know Padine was in the first half.
Listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think Padine is another case of you don't give it any attention because you don't know what it's like without it. Like, I swear, if Mantis just right now, like if someone just put together the first half of the verse without Padine, you'd be like, oh my god, this sounds like nothing. I'm not gonna say Padine honorable, like Padine top 3 or something, but also I don't think it's nothing at all. It's just hard to really give it notice because it's a really background thing in a song where you don't really get to like we don't really have the stems for the song. We have no way of like being able to really like tell how much of an impact something really has. And Padine definitely has a big impact, even if you don't really hear it. It's respect.
Whatever. I don't know. I don't think it's worthy fighting over its Padine for crying out loud.
Yeah, and I think Padine is a very respectable monster on pretty much all of the islands, son.
but you know who's a very respectable person in this community?
Who?
Logan Peters.
Quinn for animating Padine.
Duke is PJ.
Membrous?
Yeah,
Banjaw?
Banjo. He's no
You
longer
remember
a
still first.
Good.
this side.
Bro. Can members be number 2?
Yeah. Wait,
'Cause
maybe make a case for members right now, and I'll consider.
Literally anytime it plays, I'm like, oh my fucking shit. This thing is the most popping off counter melody ever. Cause like it's got transitions, it's got funny background accents, it's got funny duet with Dekala, it's got like the everything in the beginning. It's like, dude, this thing, you're not meant to pay attention to it, but when you pay attention to it, you're like, oh my god, this thing is crazy.
That's fair, but also I'm looking at the list and I realize I still don't think it's gonna get number 2, but maybe number 3.
I really like it's. I think my favorite track of it is the one in the Alec Camel verse. Like plays once and plays second time and transitions into a track. The dun 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 dun. Dun.
Yeah.
That's like that transition pops off well, and then it's the main melody of that next verse.
What about the trick or treat segment verse?
Oh yeah, cause
I like how you didn't even finish.
He's
I didn't
really
need to.
going to the trick or treat verse, in my opinion. He's loud.
Da, da, da. Da, da, da.
I'm
Alright,
just listening back for more members content.
but yeah, alright. Membrus is pretty pog. Membrus is just
Oh,
always a
yeah.
monster that you never really notice unless it's Hypno Island. But then it's always
Okay.
like, bro, this kind of slossing though.
You know what's the best part about members though, besides that one track?
What?
Just in the Dekala verse, the da 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 part.
Yeah.
It's a very complex yet not complex track. It's like inching around. It's constantly moving. It's that kind of stuff. It's like an eel in your ear.
Yeah. And I hate
Such
that.
a weird analogy.
It is weird. Oh god, that is what we have left.
Yeah.
We haven't
This should
touched
be the top 5.
seasonals yet.
These,
Okay.
well, okay. At least 4 of these could easily be like top 3.
So let's talk about the one that is in
Ghoul
Blue
Limbo.
Limbo.
What made
Good
you
op-
Limbo.
What made you decide to make 2 seasonals for Halloween?
Because that's what I did for the last seasonal island. The
Yeah,
What was the
Factory.
last seasonal island?
Flaming Factory.
Chinese New Year.
That's I didn't know that was a seasonal island.
I made it one.
Oh,
because it's Spark and Flam and Bao
I
Liangzi.
didn't know Spark and Flam were seasonals.
Why? Okay.
I thought they were just there.
Do we just not have Spark and Flam on this list?
No, why would we?
How are you gonna say it? Yo, I love it when they say "da-da-da-da."
Yeah, but it just gives us a chance to talk about Spark and Flam in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
duets is pretty cool.
Yeah, Bottle Muse is pretty cool.
Yeah, beat them mode.
Anyway,
Outcasted.
yeah, so Ghoul Limbo.
It only plays in the intro, but it's a banger intro.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say how it was inspired by an Undertale song. Like
Which
a
one?
band Undertale. Do you know like Underswap? Team
I-
Switch? Probably not.
Yes.
I don't. I know what it is, but I've never indulged in it.
Yeah, there's this one song that goes do 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 or something. It's basically this. It's called like Coffee K or something, or no, Coffin K. It's so similar to Spookbeat looking back on it, but I don't know.
Dude, someone's gonna watch this and that's gonna be like their favorite Underswap song and they're gonna go, holy shit!
Yeah, Ghoul Limbo pops definitely an honorable.
I like.
Yeah, and then Ghoul Limbo is out here being like, I'm a cool seasonal. And then Zoomy bursts through the wall like, fuck you, you're shit. I'm gonna show you how it's done.
What even is its sound? Is it a
It's the harpsichord.
Yeah, harpsichord.
word? I don't know why when I saw it, I thought it was strings.
Yeah, because strings definitely sound. Well, I mean, I guess technically it is strings, but it's like plucked strings.
Yeah, see, it's the melody in the truck is first before Slapoda takes melody. And so just and then Slapoda takes melody, and
And
then it has the sickest track ever with its dun dun like descending.
Yeah, the funny transition one.
Yeah, and then it has the actual sickest part, which is the chords. That also have a dope rhythm to them.
Yeah, it's like constantly. It plays almost the entire song. It's just always there, setting stuff up, being chords, and then yeah,
Not to mention, I just like its design. I think its design is funny. This long, like, ganglion arms and, like,
ganglion cyst.
cyst.
Yeah, he's gangly cysts.
Yeah, its
Zoomies,
brain is a ganglion cyst.
Zoomy. First off, that freaking name.
My sister came up
That's a
with
funny
it.
name.
That's great. Zoomy is OP busted Mick blow up in your face. Why?
He's like Bogart on Air Island.
Yeah,
Bogart.
exactly. I'm glad.
Zoomies.
Damn, we have 3 left.
Yeah, and they're all
Okay,
except for
let's go in order of the song. Ella Camo.
yeah.
Elikamo. He
Oh.
seems like a back monster.
Alakamo's sound font is like super sick.
I'm so glad it wasn't wasted.
What do you mean wasted?
I feel like the kind of thing that I cannot say.
Oh,
Here.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad. Because such a good monster. Like, just like the part of the song, like, it's got this slap quarter solo, then just the transition. Dun, 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 dun. And then it's doing the chords and Padines popping out the background, and then Ella Campbell's taking melody. It's the best thing ever. And then with members and everything comes in, but like that part of the song is like one of the best verses in the song, and it would not be that if Ella Campbell would just not take melody there.
That's just straight up one of the best like verses in the community.
Oh,
Yeah. That goes for all 3 of these verses, though.
All right, I have a question because I was gonna ask this when we got to the melodies. Was this one composed in the same way Gemini's was composed?
Gemini was the only one I remember composing like Gemini.
Like randomly?
I don't think this was random. It definitely feels very defined. But also, just like it's like the song builds up with how off the wall it gets. Like this is like a pretty early verse in the grand scheme, so it has some oddities, but for the most part, it's straightforward. Like do 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 do. Yeah, it's very straightforward, but it's got oddities because of course it's gonna have oddities, and that makes it even better.
Yeah, and like Ryan said
Easily gonna be in the top 5.
like Ryan said way earlier in the video, Alakamo and Turntisk play together like peanut butter and jelly.
Mm-hmm. And then Members comes in, and then you also have Zoomy in the background. Everything's so perfect. And then the second half comes in, and
You got
Gemini comes with
Jezebel.
Jezebel. Like that verse. Speaking of good verses, Vectus.
Repeat Elikamo Vectus.
I think Vectus is kind of bad.
Do elaborate.
I just feel like the notes are kind of random. I'm surprised you guys kind of like it.
Well,
Here's the thing. A lot of the notes on this island feel kind of random, but I feel like
unnerving island. It's like, oh, you can't expect it.
Oh, yeah. Listen, for me, the main thing with it is just like I love the fact that it's a callback to the Vectus verse. And it's a callback to the Ella Camel verse, but like instead of it just playing the Ella Camel verse again, it just like does like it's like such a weird decision. It basically does like I don't know if what it's supposed to do, but it sounds like it's just doing the counter notes to what Ella Camel's doing. But it's on its own without Ella Camo, and it sounds really cool. And then Jezebel comes in and really sets in the fact that this is the Ella Camo verse, but different. And like it fits super well with where it is in the song too, as like a prelude to the outro. And especially with the visuals of all the quads meeting up, it works perfectly.
Yeah, even if I thought it was Geargrex until the individual video came out.
So did I.
I'm glad it wasn't Geargrex because it being Vectus is cooler because Vectus needs more love. And then also Geargrax. If this was Geargrax, it'd be a disappointing Geargrax because Geargrax can do this, but he also has 2 other components that wouldn't have not been there otherwise.
Wait, what are the other two? I can only think of the percussion.
He's got a synth and the vocal, and then he's got his vocal synth that has like a synth in the background, and then he's also got his percussion. He's all 3.
Well, yeah, Vectus is sick. I think in the grand scheme of things, where you got like the 3 major like standout melodies with the Gemini, Elecamo, and Vectus, I'd say Vectus is probably the weakest of the 3, but that's not saying a lot when you consider that all 3 of these are like top quality, high tier.
Yeah. Listen, and here's the thing. You say 3 of the top melodies, but there's a 4th one. And
Yeah,
let's listen. I think it's time to talk about what we've been saving for last. So first of all, you got the trick or treaters. It kind of be feeling like a little strange and random, and then
that was sick.
What just?
He muted himself.
He got cut off mid exposition.
Well, now we can talk about how I what? How Rabaro's hair is based on Quinn's hair.
Really?
I
Yeah.
hate Rabaro now because you said that.
It's the Quinn, but it's weird.
I did not know that, honestly. Is the same for Quiverette?
No.
Damn. Now I can't ship those 2 together for having the same hair. Can you make it canon that underneath the jester hat, Jazobel has a comb over?
What?
I don't know what a comb over is.
It's when you have a bald spot, so you take your hair on one side of your head and you just grow it really long and then comb it over to the other side. Yeah. Homer Simpson has a comb over. That's like a good example.
No, that's canon.
Alright, thanks. You just made it canon that Jazobel has hair.
Well, I'd say maybe its jester hat kind of functions as hair, but its
Fair enough.
brain looks like a comb over.
Sick. I love comb over brains. You know, I'm starting to think Abed's not coming back anytime soon.
Alright, guys, what's your opinion on Flocko?
You mean literally the best thing to come out of Mantis's channel?
Man,
The best.
Flocko been really, really bad because I remember this one Draco Island. I did the same sound, except it just completely destroyed the island. It's like,
It's all about theme and placement. And Flonko, even like if strangely, completely perfectly encapsulates like every good quality about Spookbeat Special. It's got an insane, like, absolute godlike melody. It's got the trumpets in the background providing perfect support in both chords and ambience and like everything and bass. And then it's just got a perfect opening for other things like the jam or the Jamatung, the Rabaros, the freaking Ricks, and the everything.
Ricks.
I meant Calametal. I don't know why I called him Rick.
Do you watch Rick and Morty?
No, I do not. Anyway, yeah. Flanco is literally every single good thing about this island, and then you wrap it up, and then you deliver it on a doorstep. And its name is Flanco.
Alright, Seth, I have a question.
What is this question?
Name a better brass monster than Flanco.
Like in general?
Yeah.
Even official MSM?
Timbress on Insanity Island.
He's got you there. Because, like, even if you consider official MSM, I can only say Hornicle.
Oh, I thought a Giger, but
Nah, I'd take Flanco, honestly.
yeah, Hornicle's really good.
I mean, what's the competition?
There's like 3 brass monsters in MSM. There's Flugel, Giger, and Hornicle.
Giger's not brass.
I thought saxophones were brass.
No, they're woodwind.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
I
Maybe.
did not know that. They're made out of
They-
metal.
They have reeds.
So do trumpets.
No, trumpets have mouthpieces.
Oh, well then. Alright, maybe I thought woodwinds were something else then. Either way, that leaves 2 options. Flugel and Hornicle. And Tembress, Flanco is Flugel on fucking steroids. And Hornicle is Hornicle, so I don't think it's fair to compare the two.
Wow, I can't believe you just glossed over Sousa like that.
Sousa
Yes,
doesn't
Sousa.
exist.
What are you guys talking about?
How Flanco is better than 90% of the MSM official brass monsters.
Yeah, probably.
Because we're thinking about there's like 3 brass monsters in MSM. There's Hornicle, there's Flugel, and Sousa, apparently. I forgot Sousa existed. And Flanco is, like I said, it's Flugel on fucking steroids. Sousa doesn't exist, and Hornicle's its own beast, and I don't want to compare the two. And you got Flanco over here being like, bro, what if I was fucking like ears coming mountains of fountains?
That was out of nowhere.
I mean, he does it with 4 ears, though.
Exactly.
I mean, here's the thing. I remember, like, half a year ago, we were talking. I think it was Olivia who just said, "Okay, guys, what do you guys consider like the best melodies in the community?" And like, my answer was like, "Oh, Flunko Spookbeat Special."
Yeah.
It does like the funny in that brass can do, but it doesn't super overdo it like most people do. It's like bra 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 bra.
It's
Yeah, I don't like it when articulations are overused.
like, I don't know. Flanco's melody is so perfect that it can't have been like completely not thought out. Like, how long did it take you to make Flanco's melody?
I have no idea. If I had a guess, I would say 30 minutes or higher. I don't know. I think the thing with Flanco was that I made it and then I had to subtract from the song because it did so much.
I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, which is
I
a
mean,
good
yeah.
option.
Like I said earlier, I was like mentioning when we were talking about Gemini, like his verse is super perfectly mixed in a way where he's the main attraction. All eyes are on him, but everything else is still there as a nice flourish. It doesn't feel like nothing is happening. The song is still constantly moving, even when all eyes are on one.
The verse could literally only be Flanco, and it would still probably feel complete. The
Yeah.
only thing you would really have to add is like Rabiro and Jamatung.
Yep.
But yeah, Flanco is absolutely perfect, and I would not change literally a single thing about him. Also, I really like how funnily the track ends, just with the bwomp.
Oh yeah.
It makes the song end on a good note too. Because it would, I don't know how, because, you know, I don't know, it just makes perfect sense.
It's like, how do you end the song? You don't. Bwomp.
Now, here's the thing, we're talking about one more monster. Trumpet PNG.
PNG.
Dude, Trumpet PNG is the best.
No, but seriously, Blanco even pops off and is OP in the Trick or Treat verse.
It's not even Flunko, though.
Yeah, but listen, here's the thing, it's technically not Flunko, but it technically is Blanco.
Oh. Fine.
The eyes were, it was Flonko.
I mean, it clearly was.
Was it? Mantis said he has no idea what the eyes were supposed to be.
Yeah.
They
Also,
look like Flunko's eyes.
The Trumpet PNG was originally supposed to be Westerling. I don't know why I did that, but I did.
Yeah.
I don't know. Listen, here's the thing. I consider it Flunko anyways, because the eyes look just like Flunko's eyes.
Listen, you can retroactively make that canon right now in this podcast, Mantis.
Okay, that's canon then.
Alright, guys, it's now Flunko. Monster Trumpet PNG does not exist. It never existed. It was not even a memory. Get it out of your head.
It was my favorite monster. Just like Vocadex, another
No,
amazing.
we're not opening that can of worms.
Yep. So now that's all the monsters, so now let's do the next segment.
Alright, so we gotta talk about the song as a whole.
Fuck! That's what I have to say about it.
This is straight up one of the best songs in the community.
Yep.
I was worried that for our first fan-made island, we would have to do something that's like not that hype, like Upbeat Island. And then we're out here doing the first fan-made island as Spookbeat Special, and I'm like, dude, I live in this reality.
Yeah.
Yep.
It feels like an underrated song for Mantis standards, because like it's not like Radiation Island with its 500,000 views. It only has 200,000. Is easily the lowest number in terms of all the full songs, and it's like it's like probably the best song on the channel.
I mean, it is the most recent full song besides,
Exotic Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. My best island ever made. Exotic Edge.
Even Atlantic Aquarium was more recent and has more.
Yeah, but that makes sense. Yeah.
Update too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the song is just like, okay, let's just go through the song, Starts off with Limbo and Truckus, everyone recognizes it from the announcement video. And then afterwards, what's it called? From there, it transitions with Tanstrom into, what's it called? Truckus, da 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 da. And then Santora comes in with Zoomy Zoomy having his melody, then Slepoda melody, and then afterwards Zoomy Zoomy transition into the perfect verse of the song with the Ella Camo verse, and then second half of the verse hits, everything builds up perfectly to the members verse, and then that all builds up, and then it gets to the Trick or Treat verse, and then perfectly, it's just like, yo, makes the Trick or Treat verse worth it while, and going into the second best verse in the song, which is the Gemini verse, and then afterwards it's like, oh my god, yo, and then afterwards it goes into the Dekala verse, which goes into mega hype Vectus verse, and it's like yo. Then you got that super hype Jazzobell track coming back, and it's transitioning again. It's like, oh my god, what's happening? And then afterwards, funny percussion solo, and then with Flonko coming in, and then the second half of the Flonko verse hits with the constant cowbell and the yo, this is hitting, and then it all ends with a smoked bacon wrapped Oreo with dum dum dum.
Yeah. Alright, but okay. Now, since we have the rare opportunity, I was thinking we could ask Mantis a couple questions before we end things off, because I got a couple questions about Spookbeat Special, and this is a good idea, like an impromptu Q&A, if you would.
This is spooky.
Alright, I have a couple questions right off the top of my head. The first one is, if you could remove or add any monsters, or just like replace any monsters with other ones, who would it be?
Oh my gosh, this is such a hard one. Who do I remove? That's the question.
I could see potential things like Quiverette.
Quiverette can. I could probably remove. Quiverette does nothing, and I think that's okay.
There's also the
Um,
option of just saying, I think the song is good as is, I wouldn't want to change it even if I could.
True. Even
yeah,
it's
there's
short.
I think it's more so, do you have any regrets with this song?
not necessarily, no. I just regret not putting Bum on here. He was such an iconic monster.
Well, there's always next year.
What, you mean this year?
Don't you mean like a week?
Yeah,
Yeah, compose Spookbeat Special 2 in a week.
That's doable.
I was gonna do something like that, except it's only like 3 monsters, but that's just a bad idea.
My other question was, sometimes when people are making islands, they have this original idea of what they want it to be in their head, and even if they like the way the island came out, sometimes it's just different from what they originally intended. Is that the case with Spookbeat Special? Is it exactly how you originally intended it to be, or is it different than it was originally intended to be?
I think it's pretty much exactly what it intended to be. Like, I started off with the underswap inspiration, and then I just kind of went from there doing the obvious stuff like the harpsichord. And I don't think there's anything where I was like, no, I did not want to put Gemini here. This is such a bad idea.
How did you come up with like the different costume ideas?
It was kind of obvious. I kind of did whatever I felt like or whatever Quinn felt like.
That makes sense.
Oh, was it Cosmoverse era?
Oh yeah, it's Cosmoverse era.
Dang, the only good thing to come out of that.
What are you talking about? Are you saying Bloop original design isn't good?
Well, second design wasn't that much better, all things considered now, with the information we know. Alright, I have 2 more questions that I thought of during that. Uh, what's the shopkeeper's name?
Oh no, I don't have a name for him.
Can his name be
Um,
Renfield?
Maybe.
What?
Yes. Can his name be Renfield?
Renfield?
Renfield.
Renfield? Why?
Because it's one of Ryan's favorite names. Also, he looks like a Renfield.
Okay. Actually, I have a question too.
Sure. Be called Renfield probably because I'll never use it.
Alright,
Well,
it's
interesting.
canon.
On the topic of the shopkeeper, though, like, there's a lot of monsters on that island that just like, just a lot of like random monsters that were just there, and a lot of them ended up, like, some of them being ended up used on Mantisboi clone, like, the one during the part where it's everyone raving with
With Reburo.
Raburo up for, yeah, and then the one guy, and then
The
someone
one
jumping up with
cat
Pokedex there.
the one cat being chased by Calametal.
Yeah, those two were on one island, and then there's also like, so my question is like, how many other things on there are monsters that just like weren't like technically are monsters? Like, for example, is the Free Hugs clown a monster? Is the shopkeeper guy a monster?
Okay.
Is the painting of the cat that gets surprised by Jezebel a monster?
I think the Free Hugs clown is not a monster. The dead ghost. Actually, no, you can't even see the dead ghost except in the individual video. The dead ghost is not um a monster since that's just an Earthbound reference. The spider next to the car is not a monster, but the cat in the painting is a monster. The shopkeeper's a monster.
What about the monster or the thing that walks up to Borgabo in the?
That's a monster. Yeah.
All right. Actually, I can have a follow-up to question to that. For the things that are monsters, what are their names?
Uh,
If
you
they have
come up,
them.
I what is there? No, I don't have any names for them.
No.
Do you ever intend on using them again, or is it just a case of like, I might or I might not?
I really want to use the cat painting thing since that's a cool concept.
It's such a sick
and
idea.
Yeah, I
I-
agree with that one.
I think maybe the thing that chases Borgabo we could see again, and maybe
If you
the
use the
shopkeeper.
thing that chases Borgabo, can his name be the enemy Ichor sticker from Terraria?
he really does look like that, yeah. I think that monster, if it had a sound, it would probably just be like burping noises or throwing up or something.
Dude.
Okay, but here's the real question. For all the Vor fans out there, what mouth is Borgabo inside during the part where he's just bouncing on a tongue?
The place where it's not an actual creature's mouth, it's just
Is it like a
thing that was.
bouncy house?
It's kind of, they're in a haunted house, so everything that you see in there
Oh.
wasn't like, it's not like an actual building. It's all fake prop, like the mermaid skeleton.
Okay.
I did not know that, honestly. Shoot, I had a second question, but I don't remember what it was. Unless I already asked it and I forgot.
Why does Free Hugs Clown cry?
I think it's because the Truckus was the first one that hugged him in a very long time.
It's because it's Five Nights at Freddy's and the animatronic is possessed by dead children that totally exist in my universe.
No!
Yeah, the dead child of Vocodex.
Oh, I remember what my other question was. What was the last thing you composed?
Probably, it's either Flanco or Jamatung.
Wow, really? It's already imagining Jamatung being that late.
I can totally see it though.
Listen, it's chronological.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Okay,
guess
here's the
the
question.
first thing composed was Ghoul Limbo.
I want to say it was Truckus, actually.
Okay, but Mantis, just one more question, guy. Wait, what was my question? Let me think. It was something to do with something on this island.
Wow.
Well, if I remember, I'll ask it. But since I don't, I think now is also a good time to just like talk more about the seasonals since at the moment they're not very developed. So people don't know much about them. So this
Yeah, I
could
was
be a
gonna
good chance to
go
find
into.
out.
I was gonna ask. Do you think we'll ever see Ghoul Limbo and Zumi Zumi on another island?
I really, really want to have them in another island. Like,
Maybe if we get
I
enough
feel like
seasonal islands, you can just make seasonal island.
Hmm.
And then we could get the Spark and Flam return as well.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so before we just I just want to give you, I want to ask a question and then I just want to give you a chance to just like discuss more about the seasonals overall. Since honestly, you can even the other two seasonals because I feel like they just don't get talked about much often. It could be a good moment to shed light. But my other question is, how and when, like, what made you think of the trick or treat? Because I think it's just such a creative idea to just have it be a back and forth thing. Trick or treat, here's your candy, and all that stuff. Like, this is a cool idea, but like it's so out there. Like, how do you think of it? What led to it?
I think I was just thinking. I think chances are I probably composed Spookbeat with a story in mind, and I was thinking of what would be fun scenes to like try to represent musically, and then I was like, I think maybe past the point. Actually, I think I probably was composing with the video in mind because I think I was thinking like, let's make this verse sound like Trick or Treat, and this one sound like what is it? Haunted House. But I don't think I really did beyond that, honestly.
Hmm. I see.
Alright, I got an impromptu question. If you ever make Spookbeat Special 2, can there be another Trick or Treat verse, but one of the monsters says, I choose Trick, and then Truckus he splurts a banana in his eye, and then the monster says, that's not a trick, and then he puts,
Blanco's ears on his face.
that's a trick.
That's it.
Yeah,
Would be special to have a reference to dun, 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 dun. Can that just be like the main melody?
yeah.
What do you?
Dun, 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 dun. Oh.
Okay,
No,
but
that is
anyway, yeah. So Zoomy Zoomy and Goolimbo.
Okay. I made the design for Zoomy Zoomy, and Quinn made the one for Goolimbo. I think Goolimbo is much better, and but Quinn drew Zoomy Zoomy, and I drew Goolimbo.
That's an interesting way to do things.
Yeah, interesting.
You both
I
draw
think-
each other's concepts.
Yeah, I don't. I think the tough thing with Zoomy Zoomy was trying to figure out how to make a monster that how to even make a harpsichord design. I probably should have made it play keys, but I was just like, oh, zombie, why not make it play with its organs
It's freaking like tissue,
or tissue? I don't know.
muscle fibers.
honestly, I think Zoomy Zoomy's design is really out there, but I also feel like it's not that flawed. I feel like its flaw is more so like the way it's drawn, and I feel like honestly a good redraw would do the monster a lot of justice.
True.
That's probably really true, because, honestly, at the beginning, I was kind of this podcast, I was like, this design sucks, but, it's not that bad.
I don't think the design sucks. I think it's just the execution.
True.
Yeah,
And then
front facing doesn't look good with monsters, in my opinion.
I think Goolimbo. I think Ghoul looks kind of weird, and then Limbo looks okay.
I just like the animation that I made when they come out, but other than that,
True.
it's just kind of emo
I think
ghost.
the biggest,
I can't hear you, Abed. You moved away from the mic.
best part about it. Oh, I think the best part of Limbo is just the animation because it's a really cool animation, honestly.
What is the relationship between Ghoul and Limbo?
I want to say that
Like, do they
the
even
Ghoul-
like each other?
I'd say I want to think of them as like Mike and Wazowski, except they're both female.
Mike
And
Wazowski.
Wazowski.
Mike and
Mike and Sully.
Mike and Sully. Yeah.
You know,
Mike and
Which one is
Wazowski.
Mike and which one is Sully?
The cat thing is Sully, Limbo, and then the ghost is
Okay,
Mike.
the cat is Mike, and the ghost is Sully.
Oh.
got it.
Alright.
Yeah.
So if Abed said we could also use this moment to talk about the other two seasonals.
Baoling Zoo, I was just looking up. I was inspired by some Chinese lion things that I saw, and I wanted to make that a monster. I actually got I think it's one of my Chinese relatives to name it, hence why it has such a weird name. But
Do you know what its name means?
it means something to do with symbols and maybe red or something. I forget.
Red lion symbols.
Red lion symbols. Maybe something like that. Or maybe a red happy symbol or something. It's definitely a combination of something.
I really think it should have at least an updated art piece because this thing has not appeared in a very, very long time.
I think something that I could do to Baoling Zoo is I really want it to kind of function like it was being puppeteered, except it's not being puppeteered and it just kind of looks weird like that.
Yeah, I
And also
dig
to
things like
keep it
that.
sound to Chinese symbols, because like I don't think it should be Rabero except with symbols. It should be like its own type of
Rabro
thing.
has symbols.
Yeah. But Rabero doesn't. One thing that I'm trying to do is not like ever make Rabero play like hi-hat symbols.
True.
Only just
I mean, he's only got
he's only
3 drums.
yeah. I don't know why I give him bombs sometimes, but
Bombs?
toms.
Oh, I think you said bombs. I was like, who the fuck's giving Rabro bombs out here?
And Spark and Flam, I think is just my most rushed monster ever.
What do you mean? They're legendary.
They don't even have their own video. They're just I was just like, okay, I gotta add a new monster. Candle. But I think it's a pretty decent concept. Just needs to be.
Spark
I
and
think
Flam is funny in meme factor.
yeah. I want to make him like lantern heads, like those Chinese lantern things. But
That'd
Yeah.
be sick. Make them look actually like Chinese New Year monsters.
I really want to bring those. I really want to bring Flaming Factory back.
You should,
Yeah.
dude.
But yeah, I just don't know how I'm supposed to compose it.
You could just look at. We'll figure it out at time.
Yeah.
Alright, so I think that's everything, unless anyone else has any, like, things they wanted to ask or things they think are worth talking about still.
Hmm.
What about Clapto on the island? I forgot to mention him.
Clap.
What?
Just kidding.